Aloha, welcome to another edition of the Above the Bridge podcast. I'm your host, Thaddeus. First thing I want to shout out is our sponsors, Defend Hawaii. They've been with us since the beginning. Shout out to them. They have a store in Winter Mall called No One. If you go on their website, defendhawaii.com, use promo code ATVPod when you check out, you'll receive 15% off your entire purchase order. Go check them out. They have a bunch of new stuff for the Hawaii Warrior football team, and it's dropping now. And of course, with their normal Hawaii merchandise, go check them out. defendhawaii.com. Next, I have IREP Detail Supply. If you need anything to detail your car, waxes, polishes, soaps, anything you need to get your car looking and smelling brand new, go check them out. They have a store in Temple Valley Shopping Center. They also have a website, irepdetailsupply.com. Promo code ATBPod upon checkout. You'll receive 15% off your entire purchase order. Next, we have Hawaii Candy Factory. If you go to their website, check out what they have. A bunch of local snacks, lihimui gummy candies with lemon peel, and you see their stuff everywhere at all the craft fairs. It's NOMS. If you see anything that says NOMS, that's Hawaii Candy Factory. Go to their website, hawaiicandyfactory.com, promo code ATBPod upon checkout, and you'll receive 10% off your entire purchase order. Last, we have our new sponsor. It's one of my friends that's been doing it. It's medmushroomhawaii.com. Medicinal Mushrooms Hawaii is the name of their company, and they've been producing these lion's mane tinctures. So they extract from this mushroom called lion's mane. And if you don't know what lion's mane does, it's known to increase energy, focus, memory, and improve your mood. It usually takes 3 to 5 days for it to work. So you get this tincture, you put 3 drops under your tongue, or I put it in my coffee. I take this every day, and it's definitely changed my outlook on a lot of things. Definitely puts me in a better mood. With this right now, if you go to medmushroomhigh.com, use promo code ATBPod, all capitals, you'll receive 40% off your first tincture. So go try it out. I definitely live by this, so go check them out. Aloha. Today, my guest is somebody who runs 808 Viral. I've been a fan of her Instagram page, and I got to meet her recently at the Common Kings concert. DANI girl, DANI STOLFI Towel. I got it right, huh?
You did good.
Right on. Thank you for coming on. It's I'm stoked to have you on. I did get to meet you at the Common Kings concert, and yeah, you kind of brought everybody there. I mean, I came with Hapa, but you had all the influencers and the creators there, and it was cool to meet them in person and to actually meet you guys in person. That was a fun night, man.
Yeah, it's always fun when you see, like, you meet people you know on social media like so long, and it's like seeing a unicorn. You know, you're like, hey, I know you, and then we only know each other by our usernames.
Yeah, exactly. I got to actually meet a few people that I had as guests on my podcast that I only met through Zoom and social media. So to shake their hand and thank them in person was definitely a cool experience. And I got drunk that night.
You were having fun for sure.
Yeah.
Do you find it like hard to recognize people in public when you've only seen them online?
No, actually, I think I do it too well. And it's like, oh, I know that person, and I immediately know where and how, or if there was a situation that I interacted with them online, it was immediate. I'm like, hey, you're so and so, I'm Thad, and then hopefully they recognize me or know they remember who I am, and it's been cool. Social media has been a good way to meet new people, and I've learned a lot of I got to meet a bunch of cool people and interact with them, and to the point where I'm friends with a lot of people now. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, you got that you got the superhero name, and you got that superhero power to do that. I can't, when people come up to me, I think I get overwhelmed because
Mm.
I know them from somewhere, and then all these like faces start coming through. I'm like, wait a minute. And then I panic and I'm like, oh my God, I know this person. Why do I know this person? And then I just panic and then they'll talk and eventually I'll figure it out. And I'm like, oh, okay,
Oh,
okay. Like I
that
feel
or
like
like two days later you'll be at home in bed and be like,
sleeping.
oh, that's where I
Oh,
know that person from.
I know. And then I feel like, did they know I was speaking it? Like, I don't want to seem rude because it's probably someone I really needed to know. And then I feel bad. I feel guilty about it later. I'm like, dang it. Yeah.
So you've been a huge part of social media, especially here in the islands, and I love your content. And I feel like your content is more of a positive outlook on our community in Hawaii. And I like your Pono and Aloha kind of vibe that you have on your page. How did you even get started kind of putting it together or deciding, oh, I want to try social media and start kind of building content? Because your page kind of blew up with what you got going on.
Yeah. So I mean, I did social media. Like I had my own accounts, but I mean, I was on YouTube when it started, and I had a pet channel, and I had my first viral video in like 2008, and um, it was just kind of for fun. Then you just kind of like, I mean, I was shooting with like, I don't even remember. It was like an iPhone 4, but I don't even know. But it was like really poor quality, and we didn't have any of the tools we have now. But when I moved back home, um I was like at the time I was like had overcome I overcome a fentanyl addiction, a prescribed fentanyl addiction, and I had
Oh
to find ways
wow.
to keep myself busy. Because the things I had to leave my former like job and life that I had in order to get like healthy, and it was kind of weird because I came home back to a small town like where most of my friends had moved away, and I was trying to just like find a creative outlet, other than my job. And I got on Vine, and made a lot of connections through Vine. And Vine was like a place where everybody was just being silly and having fun. And I was like, oh my God, there's so much talent. And it was always my dream to come home and like discover. I wanted to be a promoter because when I worked for a promoter for many years, a very famous promoter in the
Oh, which
mainland.
one?
And
Oh,
his name's
mainland.
Barry Fay. He was one of he's called the Godfather of rock and roll. If you
Okay.
Google him, you'll see him. But he did shows here a lot. He worked, with Tom Moffat and Ken Rosine and all those guys back in the day. He was like huge. And I went to go work for him. I went to college in Denver so I could get a job with him. And
Oh wow.
my whole goal was because at that time back in the day, I mean, you and I like come from the same time frame. Remember how the concerts really were shitty out here? Like it was
Oh yeah.
like, remember how they would bring all these like, and I hate to say it now because they probably think that about our music, but like older music. They weren't
Yeah.
bringing any cool stuff, and nobody could afford to come. And the promoters were older, and they didn't really like, you could go to the Wave and find some cool bands sometimes there, but it was like nothing. We got
Yeah.
nothing here. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go to the mainland. I'm gonna learn how to be a promoter. I'm gonna come back, and I'm gonna be a promoter. And it was like the first couple of years working for a promoter, I was like, I'm never gonna be a promoter. I never want to be a promoter. I knew like that takes a certain type of personality. I just knew it wasn't going to be for me because you have to be like a gambler at heart. You got to
Oh
take
yeah.
chances. You got to be a little bit of a thug. You got to be like, you got to have that personality. Um, I just knew it wasn't going to be for me, but I knew I loved like discovering talent. And I thought I was going to discover bands and then be band managers.
Oh
And it
wow.
was kind of strange when I came home that I got on Vine, and it was like, I ended up discovering like what people that I thought were talented online. And I knew I had, like like experience and skills to help like help them grow or give them the attention of some kind. And so I started Hawaii Vines, and then that was the start where we just kind of like amplified like creators that were kind of doing well on Vine. And then when Vine went away, we started. I there's about a year maybe went by, and I was like, I'm gonna start a Facebook page called 808 Viral. I'm gonna just put some of our old vines up there. I had some ideas for some content. I started like curating some content, and I made a meme, spam Oreo meme, and that thing blew up. Like when I say that it blew up, like it was a joke, and it literally was not even that well like photoshopped. It wasn't even It's not even like, if you look at it, and it even says the username on it. Like, I don't know why people thought this was real, but it blew up so much that Snopes had to debunk it.
Oh
Hormel had
wow.
to make a statement. Um, um, Nabisco had to make a statement. It was on like Jimmy Kimmel's monologue. Like, there was
Oh
people
really?
like, you guys seen these crazy new like Oreo flavors, and now they got a spam Oreo flavor, and I was like, oh my God. And then they were calling it a hoax. I'm like, it wasn't meant to be a hoax. I just thought it was funny. But we got our first 35,000 followers from that on Facebook,
Oh wow.
just from that meme. And so I started posting some of our old vines and like making random stuff. And then I called a couple of the old viners and I said, hey, I got some ideas. Let's do a Mokes Try Vegan Food. We did that video, that blew up. We did a couple of other ones and they went viral like right away. And then that was it. We just created this group and just started making comedy. I would come up with these scripts and shoot it all and edit it. I like pick people and we just kept blowing up like all the time. That's kind of how it started.
Oh wow,
So
that's amazing. So you kind of are the creative mind behind the whole thing from start to finish, from idea, shot, and edit.
yeah, for the most part, as time went by, everybody started kind of like getting more confident, and then you get lots more collaboration as time went by because you
Yeah.
start to see who's interested in what. You know, in the beginning, I think people were just like not, you know how local people are, like you don't even know some of their talents. Like they'll show you one talent, but you'll find out like they have 50 other talents they never
Oh
told you
yeah.
about. Like, and so over time, you'd start seeing more of, the people would be really good at like Russell Satele was one of the original people in 808 Viral, and he was an actor. You could tell he was going to get into acting, and his acting skills really started to come into play, and um, Bronson is a musician, and he started to incorporate his music into it. You know what I mean? So there was like,
Yeah.
we all started just making dumb comedy videos, but over time you realize that spotlight, that you can start using for the things you're passionate about, and then you
Yeah.
start creating your niche, right? So
So you had like a core group of people that were just committed to 808 Viral.
mhm. Yeah, we just had, it was almost like Saturday Night Live, I guess, kind of like we had a little, it's still like that. We have like a core group of people that we call on all the time, and then we just collaborate. But we haven't, it's kind of been different since the pandemic.
Mm.
We're trying to get back into it again, but that's why we've kind of become, I just do all kinds of like faceless content now too, because it's hard to get people together, as you probably know.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get people together. It's not like as easy as it was before, but a lot has changed. At the time we got started, it was all fun and games. Like, we were all kind of inventing the wheel. Nobody really knew what was going on. It was before like everybody, it was like there wasn't as many people online, and it felt like more of a tight knit community. And
Yeah.
then I think as you know the like a lot of opportunists came into the game, and then the money started coming in, and it's just, you kind of it just split everything apart. It just made it not the same. you know
That's usually the case. Money changes everything. Takes away the fun sometimes.
it does. You have to be grounded. Like, you have to have
Yeah.
everybody grounded on the same page, and not everybody is always going to be that way. And it's just common. It's kind of sad. It's like, you see that your favorite band, and then one person decides they're going to go off and everything blows up, and or they start
Yeah.
listening to the wrong people, or it's always a thing. And um so that started happening on social media. We were learning as we're going along, and I think the attention, is so positive in so many ways, but it also, like, it's everybody handles it differently,
Yeah.
so yeah. So, but we love it. I mean, I still love what we do, like, but it's definitely very different than when we got started. It's like the Wild West.
Oh
It's like
yeah.
like the Wild West right now. It's nuts. Like, I remember
Yeah.
a time we hardly had any negative comments. Like, I could remember and count how many we had in a week. You know what I mean? Like, it was, and then now it's like, whoa, what happened? We have so many like unhappy, negative, like hater people now.
I don't get that, to be honest. Like, I don't understand how people just camp on their phone and just look for something to be angry about. Like, I mean, I get some of it. I probably don't get it to the magnitude that you guys do, but it's out there, and there's people like, and it's always from these like weird accounts, or like an account that has like 2 followers or no posts, and it's just people actually making these accounts so they can go around just being negative towards people. And I don't see how people find pleasure in that. Or why would you waste your time doing that? I could see people doing that in a positive way, but not really a negative way. Like trying to lift people up, I would spend time doing that, but not trying to hate on people. Maybe because I'm older, I think that way. I just don't understand it.
Well, I mean, you come from a more balanced mindset. You know,
Yeah.
hurt people. So not everybody copes well. And social media brings out the worst insecurities. It amplifies mental illness. It does all kinds of nasty things to people who are not happy, right? And then
Yeah.
I always tell people I'm going to get shit for this because every time I say it, I get shit for it. But there's a crab in the bucket syndrome here that's pretty real. And the sad part is a lot of the times you get hater comments, especially ones that seem deeply personal, they're coming from people you know, like
Mm.
that are doing it from fake accounts. That's the sad reality. And then you have like people, you know, you like you were telling me during the pandemic, you know, you found your your podcast because that was your you needed a an outlet, right? And you
Correct.
found a healthy outlet. um Not everybody knows how to do that or has found one, and they get
Yeah.
angry when they see, because the funny thing is most of these people that are mad when they're mad at you for doing it, they're giving you a hater comment about your podcast. Everything they're saying is projection of how they're probably feeling. You know,
Yeah.
it's because like I catch myself a lot that sometimes I will get affected by something and I'll find myself irritated with somebody or something, and then I have to ask myself like, what is this about? And then I'll realize, you know what it is? Because this person's doing something that I meant to do and I never got around to doing it, and I'm jealous,
Yeah.
you know?
I definitely fall into that situations where I would come up with ideas about different things, and then I would tell them to certain people, and then they would end up going to use my ideas, and then I'd get so mad and just kind of vengeful. And then I'm thinking, okay, well, for one, I should maybe I should have not been so frugal with letting my ideas out, but then I can't get mad that I didn't pull the trigger on my own ideas. So then I kind of calmed down about that situation. But do I found getting hate on social media, at the beginning I would entertain it, and then I would get worked up, and then I would start to indulge in kind of reciprocating it back to the people doing it to me. And then I'm find myself like an hour later all angry and just irritable, and I'm just like, how can I let somebody who I don't know, who I really don't care about, who probably isn't even somebody that like is that important or knows me personally, that like, how can I let any of that affect me? And then I kind of started to get thicker skin and kind of let things go. I mean, once in a while I might get mad about certain things, but yeah, I would be like, what, where do you live? Like, oh, is that how you feel? Oh, come, let's talk about it in like in person, or you know what I mean? I would get worked up, and then I kind of had to learn how to distance myself from the reality that is social media and the stupidity that is social media.
Oh yeah, we all get caught on those bad days. Like I do
Yeah.
too. I was just like through this whole the Maui wildfire issue, like I've been battling these conspiracy people or these like nasty troll people that we've been getting. So every now and then sometimes it just feels good to like put them in their place and just make them look,
Yup.
you know, you're like, I'm just gonna make this guy look really stupid today. Today I'm going to be like, you know, that I'm going to be petty today and I'm just going to like show him what an idiot he is or whatever. Because it's, you know, let's be honest, like, because it's very frustrating. And,
Yeah.
you know, like we all get caught on those bad days. And you're right. You do get a thicker skin. I find myself getting, I think if you're a really good person, we all have people pleasing skills. And it's also even growing up in Hawaii, like we just never, you know, there was a lot of things you never said out loud. right? There was a lot
Yeah.
of things that when you grew up, like I always tell people, I've never seen things like that we see now with social media. You never saw a student calling out a kumu. You never saw, certain things like that. You would never see that. It would never happen here in the real world like that. But
You get
social
hit.
media, yeah, no, I mean, it's just because we were just raised to, to like not complain, right? And to keep, and I love that we're getting these voices. I love that now people are kind of standing up for themselves more and they're speaking out. But it's also kind of taken a, like there's no boundary sometimes, and it's taken a
Yeah.
really bad turn. And for people that like us, that we really want to just, at the end of the day, we want to make people happy. We want everybody to be happy. It's a long process for us to understand that not everybody's going to like you, and you're like, you're letting them drain your cup. You know what I mean? You're like
Yeah.
letting them, by giving them that energy, because some of these people are just, when you start to realize like 99% of it isn't you, like
Yeah.
when you finally get it, you're looking at it and you're like, you can see what the person is doing, what they're saying, and what they really feel. It's kind of, you kind of start like having more compassion for them, and you just like stop needing to like explain yourself or to even try to be right in the situation. You just have to be like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I feel sorry for you that you don't see it, or I feel sorry for you that you're so unhappy that this is how you have to react. This is how you're living your life, and just send them off with love, when you can.
Yeah, and I've learned that I'm never gonna sway people's opinion, especially online. Like I can make all the best points and ideas and explain certain things, but they're not open to understand it. So why am I gonna waste my time? I like how you handle, from what I seen on your social media, the negativity. You do it with comedy. Like I literally was rolling when you posted the piece of bread. Like it's like, okay, here's a piece of bread. What can anybody possibly say negative about this? And then I seen James Mane's comedian James Mane's comment, and I was dying. It was so funny, but like the how you handle
Conspiracy toast.
things, yeah, how you handle things with comedy, I thought
Yeah.
was smart for one thing, and it put your point across, but in a way where it was funny for the people that was viewing it.
Did you notice that there were still people that get angry? There were like, there
Yes.
was 99% of them were okay, but it's very telling. And I often post qualifying, what I call qualifying um content, to try to draw out the people I'm trying to get rid of,
Mm.
because they're being disruptive, or they're, so I posted, for instance, like a story where I asked people, you know um I put up some kind of conspiracy, and I joke around, and I'm like, are anybody like wondering what the hell this is about? Or I put shut up sheep is the second thing. And then anybody who said shut up sheep, I go to look, and if I see they're not following us, I know they're a lurker, and I block them. So I have a pretty good like mindset when it comes to content, like when to post and when, how I post it, what like time and order, and how I even like sort things, like how I'm going to do this first and then this one will go up next. And because I specifically try to curate our audience, and I'm trying to curate an audience of people who are who get it, you know what I mean, who
Yeah.
understand what we're trying to do, and who take action when we say something. That's why,
Yeah.
like, why I'm so adamant right now, fighting this information, because I want people to know that when you come to our page, you can trust us. So when we tell you that there's something you need to take action on, you're gonna do it. Unlike if somebody's constantly posting a bunch of bullshit, it's like the boy who cried wolf. Like, who's gonna,
Yeah.
and then people are gonna get so tired of hearing your bullshit, or hearing all this bullshit, that none of the stuff that needs to be taken action on is gonna happen. So
Yeah.
when we take a comedy approach to it, it's kind of like taking, like the British say, taking the piss out of something. Like, when people are all upset about, I'm working on something right now where I'm coming up with these like local conspiracies, and it's like they're getting funnier and funnier. I've been writing them the last couple of days, but just trying to figure out like how to what order to put them in, or how to. But I've got like conspiracies around zippies. I've got conspiracies around like um Hawaiian sun, and like all kinds of stuff, that
And
just
it's
to make fun of it.
comical.
And it's comical, because I think some people are offended that, when we're talking about conspiracies, they're taking it personal. But we're trying to get them to understand that, like, you have to do your due diligence with this stuff, because you're sharing
Yeah.
and believing things that are not coming from within. They're not coming from this community.
Yeah.
And when you like, it's good to question things, it's really good to question things, but when you're feeding into this crap, you're like missing the really important stuff. So maybe if we make fun of it a little, we try to show people like, hey, it's ridiculous, you guys need to start paying attention more, because then maybe we can get the local people to not be as sucked into some of the stuff that's going on online.
Yeah, and it becomes something where people reshare, and then like after a while people take it as reality, and it's, you don't know where it's coming from or what kind of place people are posting that to cause some kind of reaction to. And I like the fact that you shine a lot of light on creators in Hawaii on your site for positivity or comedy. So your site, granted, has been a lot for awareness for Maui and stuff at the current time, but prior to that was you were shining light on different creators, giving them a platform to be seen or be followed or at being noticed. And I thought that that was cool. Is you have a huge platform that a lot of people in Hawaii gravitate to, and then yeah, you're giving shine to all these other creators, and then hopefully they go check out their page and then they start to get noticed. And I always like that aspect of, which is what you kind of showcases aloha, and it helps, like it helps people get noticed, it helps people be able to have other people see their creativity. And all your stuff is usually positive, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and even when it's negative, like my whole mindset from the beginning was always that everything has to have a purpose. So even if it's something that's maybe not like positive, the point is it's maybe to educate, or it's maybe to get like awareness, right? And I think once the platform got so big, like it was always my intention from the beginning, it was just creators, we were making comedy content. And then because we weren't always making content, well, how about let's give the spotlight to other people, or amplify other issues, or because I just feel like it's our responsibility, because I just feel like I'm just like, I was just the person like that was chosen from the universe to be responsible for this particular little thing, which in the one drop in the middle of the ocean. And I was so lucky, so lucky that it got to where it is. But I feel like it's the people's page, so I'm just like responsible for it, you know what I mean? Like it's not me, it's not necessarily mine, I'm just responsible for it. And like that's kind of how I look at it. And so I'm really careful, I try to be really careful about, I've over the years gotten more careful about who I put that spotlight on, because I have made mistakes in the past,
Yeah.
by putting the spotlight on people that maybe or even nonprofits, like or people that have scammed us, or that weren't, that I had to learn the hard way, that I was like, I'm being more careful about who I trust, and who I give that, because it's a lot of power. Like you can give somebody a lot of power by helping them build an audience. And I'm very careful about that now, because they can weaponize it, and
Yes.
then you're responsible for helping somebody do harm to people. Like I don't ever want to let that happen again. So I'm pretty careful about it now. And I just try to put out like very specific, it's just being pono. It's really just what it's about. I live here. I'm not Hawaiian, but I know where I live. And I know
Yeah.
that our group is made up of, all different ethnicities. So we're gonna make sure that we like keep perpetuating that culture, you know what I mean? Because that's the responsibility we have to everybody that lives here. And so I try to make sure that it's like we try to be equal to everybody, everything's inclusive. We try to like just try to run the, I don't want to ever be too I don't know, like I don't want to be too one-sided on anything. Like
Yeah.
even when it comes to politics, like I'm trying to just the truth, whatever the truth is. And if that's, and stay out of like party politics and things like that, and
Well,
then do positive stuff when we can. But you can tell when the community's sad. Like right now it's hard to do positive things. The
yeah.
community's been hit hard. Even trying to find things that are funny, like I've been really careful. Like I'm like, okay, is this going to be okay? Like, can we say this? Can we do this? I want to make people laugh so that people can get a break. So we're
Yeah.
we're working on some stuff right now.
That's true.
Hopefully
You
it'll
want to
go
be
okay.
you want the content to be sensitive to the situation, but as
Mhm.
still show some light. And like smiling and laughing is like, it can never be a bad thing. You know what I mean? It can always make you feel better. And as a community, like that's honestly what we need right now, especially right now.
I think a lot of people are feeling bad about that. They've told me that they tried to do something fun, or they laughed, or they just, it's survivor's guilt. Everyone's got
Yeah.
survivor's guilt of some kind. Like, we can't have fun, we can't do any of this because all these people are going through this, and we want to be sensitive to it. But at the same time, I talked to a couple of psychiatrists that have dealt with grief counseling and things like that, and they said it's so important that everybody, like set the grief aside and try to get
Yeah.
back to some normalcy in the life, and not to, because you're not going to do any good to anybody and help anybody if you like keep draining your cup. And like, it's okay to set that aside and have that normal moment, or have a laugh or whatever. Like, that's actually
Yeah.
really, really important in the healing process, because otherwise you end up with like all kinds of long-term stuff. And that's where the
Yeah.
PTSD stuff comes in for everybody. So I'm going to be sharing something. Actually, I interviewed her and I got some good. So I'm going to be sharing that. That's one of the more serious things that I've been working on, but I'm trying to get like more mental health stuff out.
Oh, that's important,
Yeah.
especially now. And I'm happy that in the recent times, mental health has become such an issue that people are spending time focusing on it and bringing it to awareness. Because I mean, we all have had it. I had dark moments. Everybody has. And um some people don't know how to navigate through it. And it's not something that's taught, or you're not given the tools most of the times. You just kind of winging it. Maybe hopefully hope your friends help you out through it. And I went through some stuff. Like, I had a divorce, custody battle, and all that, and I promised myself when I got through this, I would help other people to get through it. And I've done it. I've many times, like at the gym, or people I know, or I would tell them my experience and how I handle it, and the positive things that I did to get myself through it. And I always kept that promise to myself, because when I was going through it, I was like a fish out of water and not knowing how to handle things. And yeah, I just wish somebody like that was there for me. And I had good friends and a good support team, but a lot of people don't. And
Great stories happen to those who are supposed to tell them.
yeah, I guess so. That's probably why I go through so much crap.
It's true. It's true. Because like it's so important. And like, I always used to feel so bad. Like, why does this stuff keep happening to me? And that's what someone told me. Great stories happen to those who are supposed to tell them. And if you start to recognize, when you start to get to where like we were talking about, we're older, we've learned a lot more. One of the things that you start to see as you get older is the patterns, right? Like the patterns of why this happened. Like, oh, why did I miss this person was so terrible to me? But then because of this, I ended up with these amazing people that
Yeah.
are now my really good friends. Or, it took me off this path, but it led me here. And, you know, um, even my addiction problems, I would never met my husband. I would never been on a video game trying to keep my mind off things and run into him in the middle of a video game. Like, I mean, you start to see the patterns of how things are important. So I start to look at it like, okay, what is this about? Why am I going through this thing? Because I make it like a point to try to like make that a lesson and to turn that into some kind of positive thing. Like, even
Yeah.
that's how I do my content too. Something happens and I look, okay, how can we make something positive out of this content? What can we do to like make this a positive thing, or to make it something that's going to have, is not going to be for nothing,
Yeah.
or whatever, like have a purpose, right?
Yeah. So what were some of the positive things and the more shine that came from your 808 viral? Like, what were some of the cool things where you're like, oh wow, that was super cool. That was very positive. That was helpful to certain people. Like, what were some of the things that happened through your social media that affected people in a positive way?
Oh man, it's funny because I've been working on a kind of a sizzle reel, and I had to go back in time and look through content and to kind of like, and I forgot about a lot of this stuff. It was a really amazing moment because you kind of tend to forget some of the things. But like, I realized we raised millions of dollars, like for nonprofit and charities and things. Like we helped we got Mango Man money to keep him in his care home.
Oh, wow.
We've helped, like,
That's awesome.
even during this whole situation when we ran multiple fundraisers, and it's over 400,000 now. That was just our page, and anytime that people have had GoFundMe's that we have helped out on, that we get involved in those, and like, and so I kind of added it up, and we were well over 4 million on the ones that I was able to find. So
Wow.
that's amazing. Like that, or that I've done, I used to work for the city and county at one time, and so using social media pressure to like push certain important legislation, like lifeguard hours, like sun up to sundown hours, like there were certain ways that we were able to put pressure on city council or whatever to like to pass certain legislation that um there's been like gosh, there's so much like a really like I think what's really cool too is like when things catch on, like, okay, so my favorite funny one is that, remember the spam Oreo thing?
Yeah.
So that spam Oreo thing was a joke, but then somehow during the pandemic, we like China made a a spam Oreo Big Mac because they thought spam Oreos was real. And so we inadvertently trolled China because like they literally made burgers. I thought it was a joke and it really happened. And so I'm like, oh my God. And what's funny about that is we also are responsible for the way that McDonald's offering spam 24 hours. Because back at one point you could only get spam for
In the
breakfast.
mornings. Yeah,
And
yeah.
so we made this thing called spam. I had this idea, like, I'm going to make a Big Mac out of spam. And then I made what I called the Spam Mac. And that ended up all over the news. And the McDonald's started getting requests for it, even in like other states. They were telling me like, oh yeah, people are requesting it over here. And I'm like, and so then McDonald's like, we're going to start carrying spam. So I mean, like, there's just silly things like that, but it's just like, wow,
That's big.
people can thank us for the Spam Mac. You know what I mean? Like, just random funny things that we do that you realize it has. That's why it's the power of it is crazy, and that's why I'm so careful, that
Yeah.
because you really you can like change the narrative. You can create a narrative, a whole narrative, and change a narrative. Like, you can get people on board, you can get people angry. I mean, you can really do a lot, and it's pretty cool. But yeah, there's just those are little fun things, I think, that was like, I think, just one of the sillier fun things that are popping to my mind right now. But definitely the ability to help your community is a big one.
Yeah,
Like when
definitely.
something happens, even with the Maui wildfires, like we were on it so quickly because our city was so bad about getting on things so quickly, and it showed how crazy and awesome the community can come together online. Like, that was
Yeah.
crazy. It was amazing, like, that everybody came together like so quickly. But it sucks that we had to do it, but man, did that not show how we can take care of ourselves? You know what I mean?
Definitely. And with your platform, it kind of helps because people are already in tune and already know what you're about. So they trust what you're doing. They trust you. So
Yeah.
they tend to back it up because they've been kind of with you this whole time. I wanted to know, how did you even learn how to grow your social media? And like, did you take seminars, or was it like through YouTube videos, or just trial and error? Because everybody in the world is trying to grow their social media.
Yeah.
They want to be the popular person. And for you, it wasn't even about yourself personally. It was about the whole culture of 808 viral. So did you learn it through a class, or like you just kind of trial and error?
No, no, I was just an early adopter. I think Andy Bumachai jokes around like, so what, you need a time machine? I'm like, yeah, pretty much, because it was easier. Back then we didn't have classes. There was nothing like that. Like, when I got started, I worked for high profile people my entire life, my entire adult life. And I was, you know, like production or executive assistant. So you kind of do everything. So back when there was nobody to do websites, I was the website girl. I was the MySpace girl. I was the person like that got, you know what I mean? Like, anything that was online, like, I had to do. And anything when social media came around, I had to set it up. There wasn't social media managers really. There, like,
Yeah.
you literally were learning as you're going. So I was lucky, like I said, like my first and some of it has to do with luck. Like you put it out and there was not a lot of people back then as much as there is now. So, we built a big following from the beginning because there wasn't that many people. I mean, back when we got started, we were the only page that like that. And I could tell you like exactly who the people were making videos because there was such a small amount of them. But
Yeah.
so a lot of people ask me like how to grow, and I'm really lucky because I already have lots of large pages that were started from a long time ago. I have worked on growing some pages in this time, and it's a lot harder. So I always tell people like don't feel bad because it's really hard if you don't have someone like I can do it because I have a page where I can tell people to go to this page. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But starting over like and just trying to build a large platform now is really difficult. Now it's there was a time where everybody just put everything online and it was just like whatever, it's just me and my day. And now you got to have a niche, and that's really like nowadays you got to have a good unique niche. And that's where I think a lot of people struggle.
Yeah.
Is that like they haven't figured out what their niche is yet. And sometimes it's something so like I tell them like it's so simple, like you didn't even know this whole time that people would be interested in the one thing you're really, really good at that you always just looked at as, like I talk really fast. When I started making content of me reading labels really fast, my videos would go viral from me. It never occurred to me to do that because that's just something I do all the time. And it was like stupid, person trick. And like people really like that. Or somebody didn't realize that their Filipino cooking was going to blow up if they just cooked their mom's Filipino dishes and then they blow up. They were trying all this other stuff and then they simply did the thing they did every day, So
Yeah.
it's a different time, but yeah. So you can, unfortunately, like I would hate to have grown a platform like this now. I think it would be really
Yeah.
difficult. And
It's
the way that
weird now with the algorithms and like you gotta put tags and it's just so many different things that I have no clue. Like I just put my stuff out there and let it ride and see what happens. And honestly, it's not that important, but it's cool for my brand, you know what I mean? But it changes all the time as well. Like before
everything
hashtags was like a huge thing. Now it's like, oh, you don't even need that. I'm like, okay, so
still do
I'm like,
them.
I need to take a class on
People keep
this
saying the
because
no hashtag thing every year, and then they come back
yeah,
and go, "Well, maybe we needed a hashtag." Like, just do them. It isn't
yeah,
that hard. And
yeah,
I just, like, I don't know, like you could do everything right and still not. I mean, there's creators right now. I'm like, why is this person not blowing up? And then I'm looking at somebody else. I'm going, why is this person blowing up? Like compared to this other person, like it just seems like what?
yeah.
And the algorithm used to be very predictable. It's just not anymore. I don't even look at the times I post anymore. I know that certain days are bad. I avoid those days, but like people ask me for strategy all the time. It's like it's just so different for everything. And you just got to keep trying until you
Yeah.
get the right, until you sometimes it's just a matter of luck and timing, at this point.
How
So
important do you think social media is in our lifestyle now in this day and age?
this is I compare it to like back before we had the telephone. Now the telephone is social media is unfortunate. I keep saying unfortunately. I love social media, but I think it's too much in our lives now,
Yeah.
to a point where I don't know if we've necessarily adapted to it yet, and our platforms are doing a terrible job at keeping us safe in the way that they're not, enforcing their own rules. And there's a lot of things happening that are really damaging. I mean, the people that created these platforms or have left are speaking out on it,
Yeah.
and I see it, and I think I see what I call social media psychosis, or certain things that I think are really bad. But I know that if you have a business, it's almost impossible for you to have a business without having social media.
Yeah.
It's unfortunately everyone's a content creator now. Whatever you're doing in your business, you have to be online. I think it was it Forbes that predicted that people who aren't online, this was 2 years ago, people who aren't online in 3 years will be out of business. You have to have social media, and unfortunately, it is a part of our lives now, and you can't ignore it anymore. So
Yeah.
even as toxic as it is, it also is the defining of whether you're going to succeed. And there's a lot of money to be made
Yeah.
too.
It's
So
it's And you're reaching people you would never reach otherwise.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah.
And that brings like the best and the worst of things. Like you can lose your business overnight if your
Yeah.
employee has a bad day and does something that gets them on, goes viral. I mean, it's scary.
Yeah.
But
It's
it's like
def
we all have to get used to it because it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
yeah.
And it can
So
be the best and worst place in the world. It's like
definitely.
we live in the real world and then there is an entirely different world online. And that's
Yeah.
just the way it's going to be moving forward. Now that we've got, AI and everything happening, like, the metaverse and everything is going to be, there is going to be an entire world online. I mean, there is
Yeah.
an entire world online and it exists. And we just have to like, everybody's got to figure out how to make it work
Yeah.
without going crazy.
Well, how worried are you and I don't know how it is. Like I've noticed I get a lot of spam or like I'll get ads or like weird things from people that I know were hacked. It's always like, oh, I need money. I'm in a pickle. Like, can you send this? Or like, how are these people getting hacked like so easily? And are you ever worried that all the work and time that you put in on your platforms could just get snatched up by one of these hackers or taken away from you in like one bad click or something?
I've had nightmares about that. And I had a time where like there was a point where somebody did hack in, but I moved quick enough and I was able to get in there before they changed up everything. Two-factor authentication, I always tell people like you got to have two-factor authentication for one. Like yeah, everybody should have that set up. It's very difficult to hack through that. Um and yeah, the spam stuff, like the way they get you to click on things is getting better and better and
Yeah.
better. And I always tell people to remember that in a world where we know we have criminals everywhere, they're all online too. Like everybody is at the dinner table, the adult dinner table. All the people who used to be in jail or at the kids' table or that weren't even invited are
Yeah.
all at the dinner table now. And they're
Yeah.
all speaking and they're all together and you don't know who is what or whatever. And so like you just can't trust anything anymore. You have to be just super guarded on everything. And I do get worried. We change our passwords all the time. I always tell people like constantly change your passwords. And at the end of the day, like you can contact Instagram. And I always tell people like if you have to pay for the blue check thing for a minute, I did that specifically to get direct access to Instagram because you can
Oh,
talk to
so
them.
so how does that work? I tried it once and I mean it didn't really do much for me, so I didn't kind of do it. I didn't honestly. I didn't even know I was doing it.
Oh, the
I thought I got verified legit, and then I got charged, and I'm like, okay, now they're charging me every month. I'm like, no, 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 I'm not. I don't.
That's
Uh, what
bullshit.
wo- what are the benefits of doing that?
So it's funny because 808 Viral got legitimately verified 3 weeks before they launched that program.
Oh,
And
that's
or
awesome.
maybe a couple of weeks or something. And then all of a sudden we get a notification like, do you want to verify through this thing? I'm like, why are they asking us that? Because we can't, because the name is a business name, like, or whatever. It's
Yeah.
not a person's name. And I noticed the blue check was gone. I'm like, oh, you dirty motherfuckers. Like I was so mad. I'm like, you took our blue check. We finally got the freaking blue check. And then now you're gonna offer me something we can't even do. Like, oh, I was so mad. But I don't know. Like there's in fact, I'm getting ready to cancel it. Like, but the reason I have it is the reason I got it on my personal page was because you get direct access to chat. That's literally the only reason. And when the first month I had it, I contacted them and had them fix all kinds of glitches that were
Oh
going on in
wow.
808 Viral and my page. And I was like I put all these reports in. So this last months that I've had it, it's just been like going through and support and getting them to fix and do things I need them to do. When I was getting we had a bunch of like imposter pages that came up at one point and they weren't taking any of them down and they were spamming people for money. And so I would tell them and then they would take them down. So like that is to me, that's what the value is at. Like, as far as everything else goes, I'm not sure what other people are getting the value of. Although your name, like you do show up in comments better. Like it's people notice
Oh,
you more in comments.
I
I think some
see.
people might like that. But for me, it was the support. Although the
Hmm.
last month their sport's been kind of shitty, so I've been thinking about canceling it because I'm like, if this is not going to work anymore, then there's no point in me paying for this, because that was the only
Yeah.
reason I was even doing it, was for the support.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know if it
So
really helps your engagement or anything, because it doesn't look like it to me,
yeah,
so
I didn't think it did either. And I mean, I honestly thought it was legit, and I thought I was cool enough to get
I
a blue
know,
check,
right?
but I guess I wasn't.
Like, sorry.
Yeah.
And now people go there and they look and they make fun of you now. Like, it's become a thing. Like, oh, you're such a loser. You bought your blue
Yeah,
check,
yeah, yeah.
like,
Yeah. That's one thing. I did feel like a poser, and I'm like,
yeah,
okay, well, I honestly, I kind of don't care, but then I thought, like, I'm not gonna spend like, what is it, $15 a month for this blue check next to my
yeah,
name. I was like, it's not worth it. But I didn't realize the benefits that you just described that came with it. So maybe it's
yeah. I tell people,
that's
like, get it,
useful.
get your support, and then cancel it again. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if you don't really care about the blue check, I'm getting ready to. If they don't start helping me with some of the stuff I've been dealing with lately, I'm gonna be like, well, you guys, this is pointless now. We're going to this automated like support again and this bullshit. Like, what's the point of having this stupid blue check? I don't
Makes
really
sense.
care at this point. Yeah.
Future wise, what kind of projects are you gonna try and get into, and where do you see 808 viral growing to in the future?
Yeah. So I've been talking to people about this a lot. We started this before the pandemic and it got put on hold. But myself and some others have some scripts we've been working on. We want to do some like comedy, like series. There's this comedy series. We're a couple of them, a short film. I have a documentary series that I want to
Whoa.
do. I'm trying to get grant funding for, because it's something, you know, the problem with us trying to do this is getting all of our professional friends that want to do it in between the times they're doing their normal jobs. I don't want to, I know they'll do it like if I ask them to, but I don't like asking anybody to do something free in between the jobs they're already trying to make work. And it's just too hard. So I'm trying to get grant funding to do some projects. That's one of the things. I'm also really passionate and have been for a long time about disinformation, and thinking
Oh
about
yeah.
starting getting like doing something where I'm going to start a disinformation page that's specifically to help, like, because I have a lot of group of friends who are like full on Nearly Nancy's, that like some of them are ex-PIs, ex-cops, like they're really good at digging up information. And this way we can like put out advisories, and let people know when something's not real and when it's not. That's something I want to kind of like do on the side. Um, but I want to get back into making our comedy videos for sure. That's definitely like on the top on the list. It's just about everybody's life has been so, crazy and sad and busy. And but the minute that like we're back on track, we're going to start rolling out. We've got a great idea. I'm not going to jinx it because I don't want to say it out loud, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's going to be something no one's ever done, because we always try to find the things that have never been done. And all of the people that are involved are like actors, and it's giving them something to do, but it's like,
Yeah.
it's going to be so much fun. Like, I just hope that it comes out the way I want it to. We're working on the scripts now. So,
Oh, right on.
yeah.
Well, I personally will be definitely looking forward to that. I really like your merch. Your merch had me rolling. The Monopool Man shirt, that just brought back little kid memories when he wouldn't stop. And he's like, wait, I like my freaking fried noodles, and he's going down the street and you're running with your dollar bill. That was like, yeah. I like that one, and the Token Holly one was pretty
Oh,
funny.
token.
Yeah, but the Monopool one was by far my favorite.
Oh,
Are those
good.
your ideas and stuff?
Yeah, I have a whole list of them. I've been meaning to do more, but like we did um Body by Musubi, and I have got so many of these ideas. Like, I have literally a list. Um it's just that I was trying to roll out here and there, and I gotta talk to Mahalo Shoots, because they have my list. Like, I just have to give them the green light on the next one that I want to do. But I come up with these all day long. Like, I love them. I love doing shirts. So these are part of our memes. Some of them have been memes that we did over the years, So it's just like, I remember like seeing a meme of ours on a shirt like years ago, and I'm like, somebody made a shirt of my meme. Like, I didn't know how to feel about it. I'm like, okay, well, I never did it. I didn't, I don't have any way. I mean, I didn't do it, so I'm not gonna be mad about it. And not, you and I both know like merch, like you can do well on it for a point, but you don't make a ton of money on it. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like, nah, I'm gonna let that one go. But when I started people doing merch of our memes, I'm like, okay, we gotta start doing our own merch.
Yeah, people are
I
taking
got
your ideas.
yeah, no, I was like, whoa, I was kind of flattered, and then I was mad. I went through like this weird thing. I think I was like, oh, wait. I was
Oh,
like, I
wait.
went through this roller coaster of like how I felt about it. I'm like, what? Oh, he was selling my shirt, but oh, he liked it enough. He made a shirt. I'm like, I was like, I don't know how to feel about it. I got to get off my ass and start doing it. That's the lesson I got from that one is, girl, you got all kinds of friends around you that do all this stuff. You just got to like get it together and start doing
Yep.
it.
Pull some triggers.
Mm-hmm.
So free time wise, personally, what do you like to do on your downtime? And do you work a regular 9 to 5, or is it just running the site?
Yeah, I haven't worked a nine to, I mean, I worked at the city for a little while. Like I was mostly contract, so I had my own free schedule. But I haven't, since I left the city, no, I do my own thing again. I have my own business. Basically, I do social media for other people. Like I run accounts for other people. So I have several clients that I just do their content and their social
Okay.
media. And then I do a lot of consulting. So that's kind of the bulk of what I do now is people come to me and like everywhere from like agencies to businesses or whatever, they come and they have me come up with ideas, come up with content, make content, um, all kinds of stuff, basically just about anything. And yeah, like I'm trying to find things more that aren't so much on social media because I feel like I'm getting I don't know, I feel like my clock's running out with social media. I'm getting very intolerant. So I love the creativity part. So I'm trying to figure out a way to continue to do that without being so like in the weeds, you know,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like it's just gotten so negative, but I love the creative part. I'm really good at that. That's my knit. That's my strength. I can sit in a room and like everyone's trying to figure out what to do and I'll listen and I'll have all their ideas figured out like in an hour. Like that's one of my strengths. That's what I want to
Oh,
do all day long. I
oh,
could do that all
that's
day
cool.
long.
So free time for fun, what do you do?
Free time.
Do
The
you
fact
even
that
have any?
the fact that you know I don't really have a lot of. I mean, I watch. My husband and I we're kind of boring. Like I watch movies. And we really into movies and playing video games and we have a lot of animals, so that takes up our time and we don't really do much more. We're kind of like we kind of stick to ourselves. It's very boring because I feel like online life it's very draining now. So like I don't really
Yeah.
have a lot of energy for anything else, and it's a lot of just like just centering, getting back to like trying to fill that cup back up and then get back out there, and then filling the cup back up. So I've the thought of like going hiking or some shit like that, which I used to love doing. It's like, fuck no, man. I'm too drained for that shit. I can't. I like admire anybody that can physically get up and go and do anything right now because I'm just done usually by the end of the day.
Well, you did look like you were having fun at the Common Kings concert. I do know that you were like putting stuff together there, but it was cool to see you in action and you look like you're having fun for sure.
Wow, I fooled you. No, I'm just kidding. I get so nervous and that was my first big concert in a long time. I Most of the concerts I work from behind the scenes now. So I don't actually go. I kind of went to so many concerts for so many years. It's just like,
Yeah.
I've met everybody. I've done this already. It's just you don't like mm. But man, that was fun. It was good vibes. And like I was really
Yeah.
glad I pushed myself to go to that one. And like I'm gonna do it like I've been to a couple since then. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to like people saw me, they're like, oh my God, you're outside. You're around people. There are people here. Danny, did you know there are people here? I'm like, yeah, I know. A lot of them. Like I was walking through the crowd and I'm getting text messages from people that saw me like, Danny, is that you? Are you in a crowd? I'm like, yeah, yeah, but it's just me. I'm alive. I
That's
didn't
cool.
die.
Well, you seem like you were in your element and we took pictures and it was like that was, yeah, that was one of my favorite nights I had this year. and it was something that I'm gonna remember. That it was I worked with Common Kings when they were just starting out, when we did concerts at Aloha Tower and stuff, and to see them how big they grown now, and to actually see them after the pandemic. I haven't got to see them in person, and then to meet all you guys, it was, yeah, that was one of my the funnest nights I had. It was cool. That was a fun one.
It was. Their shows are good vibes for sure. Like, and
Yeah,
everybody was happy, and it was just so nice to see people all getting along. I didn't see any fights.
yeah,
Like, and then seeing our Hawaii creators group, because that was a fun thing that we started up too, which was just having all these creators come together online and support each other. I love that, right? We're all collaborating, we're not
yeah,
competing, and everybody's helping each other. And just to see everybody, and when you see them out, you're like, hey, because
yeah,
we're all like, for people who don't know, like we have this Hawaii creators group and we have a big chat, and there's over 100 people, I think, in there at this point. And we just share our experiences about, like, things that suck or things that are good, or get togethers. And it's just been all like a really nice little support, almost like it's a support group in many ways. Yeah.
yeah. It's cool, and like I don't really partake in the chat. I read them all and I see what's
Yeah.
happening, and then I always support everybody else's posts. Like whoever posts on that other thing, I always like and comment, and like try and hope give them a little bit of shine. But I met a lot of people through that thing, and I had a bunch of people like you on my show because of it, and it's been fun to actually meet them in person. I'll have
Oh
them
yeah.
on my podcast. We go through Zoom, and then I'll see them on and be like, "Hey," or somebody, "Hey, Dad, thanks for having me on." And yeah, it's become a thing, and I've enjoyed it. And yeah, that group is definitely a bunch of solid positive people that are sharing their aloha and sharing experiences and different way to do things. And yeah, it's
Mhm.
been cool. Definitely been cool.
Yeah, this was definitely good. I love everybody and that's been there so far. And yeah, it was funny to show because I got to meet you, and then I got to meet DJ Hoppa for the first time.
Yeah.
Because I've seen like other shows before, but we never actually like talked or met. And then when you told me he was like you're my brother, I'm like, oh my god, now I get it. Because when I saw you together, you guys both are like, oh, is that what was that? Somebody could describe you guys. Yeah, but it was like, I want to say it was like a positive vibes hyper mongoose or something. It was super funny. And I'm like, oh my god, you guys are just like super hyped up, and like your energy's all like, crazy and awesome. And I was like, okay, this makes sense. Like I would have thought you guys were brothers, you know what I mean? Like if I didn't know either one of you, I'd be like, oh yeah, you guys have to be brothers
Yeah,
for sure.
Hoppa has his own mood. That guy is like all good vibes and energy. Yeah.
Oh
He
yeah.
helped me through a lot of stuff. He actually is the one that kind of called me out on my bullshit to actually pull the trigger on making this podcast. And
Oh good.
he was on somebody else's podcast and kind of mentioned how he knew somebody that was talking about it, but I'm still waiting. And I was
Mm.
listening to that podcast at work, and that prompted me. I stopped exactly what I was doing. I thought to myself, this moment right now is uh ground level. This is it. This is day one. And from that moment forward, I started putting the steps into place. So yeah, he motivates me in a positive way. And
Would you have like
yeah,
self-doubt or something? Or were you just like taking too long to like get your courage up or
it was not knowing where to start. Not it was a bunch of excuses and bullshit I was telling myself.
yeah.
And once I tore those walls down, then I just, okay, this is what I got to do. I can go find out everything you can find out online or on YouTube. So what do I got to do? I got to do this, this, and this. What do I want to do? I need to do this, this, and this. I created my own website. I figure out how to get everything on all the platforms. I had a producer at the time that helped me with editing, but he couldn't do it anymore. So I forced myself to learn, and I'm still learning. I'm not the greatest at it, but I'm learning, and it's getting better. And I'm learning new things. I'm meeting new people, and it's just been such a cool experience for me. So yeah,
Well, I'm proud
it's
of you.
thank you. That
You're
means a
doing
lot.
a great job. I like your podcast. I've been watching. You're doing a great job. I would have thought you knew what you were doing I mean, it doesn't
Nope.
look like you're struggling. It doesn't look like you're learning along the way. It looks like you know what you're doing already. So
Thank you. That means a lot. My daughter critiques it because she'll watch the first couple episodes like out of nowhere and she's like, Dad, you're so different now. Like how did you figure it out? I was like, I don't know. I just did a lot of them.
oh, that's the highest praise because she's like a teenager. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's the highest praise right there. I remember being surprised. I was like, you have a 13-year-old daughter? Are you even old enough to have a 13-year-old daughter? Because you look like you're too young.
That's a good thing, I hope.
Yeah. I was like, and then you told me how old you are. I'm like, what? Okay. What are your secrets?
Alcohol, it preserves the aging cells.
You think? That doesn't always work for everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Probably my
just,
Korean blood.
oh, is that what it? Yeah, like it runs in the family.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
genetic.
Shoot, well, we've been going for over an hour. Wait, I know what to talk about. We are both cat parents, and I've been one for the last maybe year and a half, and it changed my life. And I know
Where's your
you
cat?
have a cat. What is that?
Where is your cat?
I
Why is
don't
it not on
know.
your
So
computer?
he's not. Yeah, he's not here.
It doesn't sabotage your. It doesn't sabotage your.
There's no way I let him in the room.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah, yeah. This would be gone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'd be talking from the
He'd be,
ground.
he'd be sitting right in the back, knocking all
Yeah,
that shit down.
yeah,
It's funny. I
100%.
appreciate that you added the cats at the end because if you added it at the beginning, we would just be talking about cats the
Yeah,
whole time.
exactly.
Because like people make fun of me because I've always been known as like the crazy cat lady when they're like, oh, who wins 808 viral? It's a crazy cat lady. Like, because they go and look and they just see me talking about cats. But I was like not a cat person. I'm probably like you. Like, I don't know if you were, did you have like a cat distribution system hard at work that like came into your life by accident kind of
Oh
situation?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
My girlfriend got a stray, and then I'm like, what am I gonna do with this thing? 2 weeks. That was it. It's my little boy now.
Oh yeah. My husband's the same way. He's like, I don't want a cat. And I was like, within like a week, he was done. I'm like, it's so funny because he was the one that was just like, I'm not really a cat person. I'm like, I'm not really either, but I just kind of like this little thing. I don't know. Let's just like see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then like, man, it was like that first one, and then it just never. I used to think cats were just assholes, you know. And we had one that was raised with dogs, so we were like, we didn't know, like there were certain things we just didn't even know about cats, like when they get that pouch thing and when they get older. I was like, I thought something was wrong with our cat. I'm like, took it to the vet. I'm like, why does his stomach look like that? They're like, oh yeah, that's normal when they get. I mean, there's just we just learned every little thing. Like, why is it making that noise when it sees birds? That I thought it was like choking and
or the hairball, the first hairball. I'm like, oh shit, we gotta take him.
Oh, they do it.
He's choking.
Dude, you know how many times I wake up and step in warm puke? Like they puke so much. But that's the comedy. This is what I like about them is people. I don't know why people just like the stereotype is that all old ladies have cats, and I think there is an element of cats find people that need them, you know, and that will take care of them. But they're comedy. They're like the funniest. And I swear to God, they live in like the real world and like the afterworld. Like, have you ever looked at a cat and it looks like it's with you for a minute and then suddenly it's in a different world and it's looking at you like it's never seen you before?
Yeah.
Like, in my opinion, like it was in the other realm and it just came back. And they see shit sometimes. Like it drives me crazy when my husband works nights and I'll be sitting there and the cat will look like he's looking. I'm like, don't do that. What's behind me? Like,
what do you see?
What do you see that I don't see?
It's just a bug.
It's like because the Egyptians, they all believed they were part of the afterlife. So I'm like, are they seeing ghosts? Is there something in here? Tell me, what is it? Do I need to run?
Damn, I never thought about that. Now I'm gonna be freaking out when he's weirding out.
Yeah,
does your cat have like the zoomies?
Oh my God.
Oh,
what the fuck is that? Like, it's like, what drugs are you on? And it's like and always like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and they're like,
and then these little fuckers they sleep during the day, and I'm like, the nerve. You're just like, we're all awake now, and you're sitting there just living your best life, and you kept us all up.
I just give them a weed brownie or something and let them zone out for a while.
Oh God! Like I had a cat that wigged out. I actually had a viral video where the cat had broken into the catnip and went batshit. Most of my viral videos started with my animals because I would just record them doing crazy shit, and they were always doing something crazy. And like, you know, it's all comedy to me. Like they are the most entertaining thing to me. Like that's probably most of my downtime is me just hanging out with my cats and waiting for them to do something crazy and make me laugh. Like I get so much joy out of them. And if I had more room, I mean, literally, I've got a bunch staring at me that we adopted during the pandemic because people abandoned them in our neighborhood, or some guy died. We have his, and now we've got a whole bunch outside, and they're literally hungry, looking at me. Like I love that they find us. I'm like, it's hilarious to me. Like
so you are the crazy cat lady.
Dude, I don't even want to tell you how many I have. Like I don't even want to tell you. I don't want to be judged, but I'm just like, if you find your way to me and you need something, like, hey, all is welcome. And they all have some weird shit that's wrong with them. Like it's like they all have some weird quirky thing, and I'm like, they're just being brought into my life to take the stress out by
balance you out.
Yeah, like I take care of them, and then they provide me with endless entertainment, like all day long. So much fun.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate you for taking time out of your day and coming on. I definitely want to have another conversation with you in the future. You're someone sure. I feel like I get along with super well. I was telling you yesterday, we had a 45-minute conversation on the phone. I said I should have just hit record on that thing.
Anybody who knows me, I can talk. I can go on and on and on like that, and I can do it fast. So I've been working really hard to talk slow for you, but you would be surprised how fast I can go. But yeah, anytime, like if you have any questions or anything I can help you with, like social media questions, or just let me know. I mean, anything I can help you, I'm happy to help. I'm always happy to share the knowledge and whatever I can do to help you grow. Like,
oh, I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, you already did. You taught me that there's a chat thing on this thing. There's a whiteboard. I've been using it for 3 years. Didn't know.
Yeah. Now you know you can play Pictionary. You can play like Pigeon Pictionary with your friends on Zoom.
All right. That's awesome. Well, so where can people find you, and where can people find you on social media and stuff?
So yeah, 808 Viral on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And then my Instagram is Daniela Rocks. It's ROX. And then I have YouTube. We're on YouTube also. 808 Viral's on YouTube. And then I have my YouTube channel, Danny Girl, which is our pet channel. So if you want to see dumb cat dog videos, it's really not, it's not high produced. It's just like, don't even judge. But that channel blew up and I love it, and it's just dumb stuff and whatever. Don't have high expectations of production value there. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Oh, right on.
For now. For now. We'll see.
Right on. Until the next episode I have you on and you got like 8 more different things going on.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm not even telling you about some of it because I don't want to like freak you out. So we'll talk about that next time.
Definitely. And for us, it's the same. Always our Instagram is Above the Bridge Podcasts. My personal one is Daddy High, our website ATV Pod, and our YouTube is Above the Bridge Podcast on YouTube. Yeah, man, thank you for coming on, and
Thanks for having me.
You're super fun to talk to.
Same. Ditto, my friend. All right, we'll talk again soon, right?
All right, well, shakas for the cameras.
Yep.
All right, we're out.
I try to do the right shaka, not a howly shaka. You notice how I kept my shaka tight? Okay, just wanted to notice that.
We're out. Shout out to the Artist Group Network. Aloha.
Bye.